the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space.
What does it take to convince you that the dead do not always rest in peace?
Episode is brought to you by Broad's Beard Care, premium beard oil made right here in Central Florida by Kelly Broad himself, expertly blended by Kelly. Go to broadsbeardcare.com, use promo code 3beards with a capital B. You're going to save 20% off your entire order. And at this time, we would like to welcome Willy Hassel. He is I would say, executive producer, director, just pretty much, go across the board for a documentary that you can watch right now on YouTube, The Soul of the Sea Witch. And this deals around the paranormal experiences that people have had since the beginning of the music playing here. So I'm not sure whose end that is. It's like, but that is our intro. I love it. And that's, so yeah, we got, so we're on here. So if you go to that site, you can watch this. This is the USS Salem. This was a flagship that was done in 1945 is when they started to they laid down the keel on it. And so it's funny. I just keep hearing the music. That's crazy. So welcome, Willy, to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
welcome.
No, we're glad to. And we came from Mark Eddy. He mentioned you, yep. And he sent this in what. And I watched the documentary, and we've been trying to get a couple shows on the paranormal too. And this one really, really fascinated me. And when we watched the documentary too, as well, I really had a few questions that I definitely wanted to ask you about this. So what led you to, first off, investigating and wanting to make this documentary about the USS Salem?
Well, it's just a case of I was just kind of looking for a project to do, and I had been to the USS Salem a couple of times investigating, and my friend Don DeCristofaro, who is the founder of the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates, I just happened to look on Facebook one day, and there was a picture of him on there. He was filming a TV show for the Travel Channel. And so I said, now there's possible access. So I called him up, and I told him I think it'd be great to be able to do a show on the Salem, and he thought it was a great idea. So he got me the permission, and we took it from there. And I got to say, it was a really, really fun project. I had a ball doing it.
Yeah, it was a good documentary. I liked it a lot.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. That's always nice to hear.
Oh yeah.
No, it was one of those. To be honest, I had never, until I saw your documentary, I didn't know the details about the Salem. I mean, it was a ship that didn't see combat, but it was done mostly humanitarian and other relief objects. So some of the paranormal experiences that come, do these seem to be mostly people that were brought on through rescue missions, refugees that, seem to be doing the majority of the paranormal activity upon the ship?
Well, I think a lot of it is it was in 1953, the Salem, along with some other ships from other countries, responded to the Ionian Islands in Greece for an earthquake. And the Salem was used as like a makeshift hospital, and a lot of the victims from the earthquake were brought on board the ship, and a lot of them subsequently died on the ship. And so there are a lot of the spirits on the ship now, I believe, are from the earthquake. Because there are women. There were a number of babies actually were born on the ship because of the from the earthquake, and they were brought on the ship, and they were pregnant and almost ready to go, and I guess like the shock of the event pushed them, and so there were several babies. There was also supposed to be the ghost of a dog on the ship, which we assume came from the earthquake also.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because you've seen, everybody that's seen the movies, Hunt for Red October, you've got the little Jack Russell Terrier, for the captain. So I was going to ask you about that. Was that something that maybe that was the captain's dog, or was this something that was brought on during one of those, like the earthquake, relief effort?
Yeah, we believe it was from the earthquake. There's nothing in the records to say that it belonged to anybody aboard the ship. So we believe it was from the earthquake.
Interesting.
Now, how many people are estimated to have passed on while aboard the Salem?
Well, the last figure I heard was approximately 90. There have been approximately 90 deaths on the ship, which is an awful lot for, like as you said, the ship never actually saw any combat.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of death
That
for
could be
one reason or another.
That could be like 90 spirits floating around the ship. But I had a question. I don't know if you know why, but why did they call the room where they stored the people at the butter room? Was it because it's close to the kitchen? I'm like, the butter room. So they're dead. We're going to call it the butter room.
Chris beat me to it. I wanted to ask that question too, because that was one of the first things that stuck out to me. And I looked over at my wife as I'm watching this. I'm like, why is it called the butter room? I'm like, that just seems really morbid and really macabre. Just the fact that this is called the butter room.
The butter room.
Well, everybody asks that same question, and that's exactly what it was. It was near the kitchen, and that was where they stored the butter.
That's awesome.
It's as simple as that.
Wow.
So of course, being the butter room, it was a cooler. So what better place to store bodies,
In my life of picking up bodies, you can always find the morgue by where the kitchen is, because that's where the coolers and the refrigeration is. So that makes sense now.
Hey, yeah, there you go. It's as simple as that.
I'm just thinking right now, when breakfast comes around, biscuits and gravy are on the menu. I'm not quite entirely sure if I want that.
As long as you don't put any butter on it this morning, that's all. And we'll all be good.
My God. Go ahead, Chris.
I don't really recall the documentary saying where were the people who died buried at, or I know you can't cleanse the ship because of whatever, no fires allowed on the ship, but where were the bodies buried at? Are they disposed over the water?
I would imagine the victims from the earthquake were taken back off the ship, I imagine, and buried right there in Greece. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they would have kept them on the ship. That would be I would assume.
Yeah, that there's one of those. I think one of the shadow person. I've always been really fascinated with the shadow people when you see these things, whether or not, I don't know if it's entirely ominous or if it's more of just the way that spirit, that entity is reacting with I don't know if you want to call it the real world, this plane, this, do you feel that there was a real heavy negative, take on these spirit, on these black, images, or do you think this was just more just that was how the apparition was, presenting itself?
I don't. A lot of people say that shadow figures are dark and evil, but I don't buy that, and I don't think there's anything on the ship that is dark, anything to worry about. And there's nothing on the ship that will hurt you. I don't know why some spirits show as shadow figures. some show as full-bodied apparitions. I don't know why. I guess it partly probably depends on the amount of energy that they can gather to to come through. But why one is a shadow figure or why one is a solid figure, I don't know.
Okay, hey,
That makes
Chris,
sense.
take over for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So when all this took place, the ship was made to go to combat. Am I correct? It just had other missions and throughout its course instead of making it to combat, or it was never presented with a war or a.
Oh, the ship was definitely built for combat, but it was as he mentioned earlier, the keel was laid down in 1945. But by the time it actually sailed, it was 1947. The war was over, and she wasn't commissioned until January 30th of 1949, well after the war. So, even though she was definitely a warship with plenty of guns ready for war, she never actually saw action, just simply because the war was over. And then she did only 10 years, which is a pretty short
Yeah, that was the question.
service life.
Was that the average time? Is 10 years? It seems really short for a whole warship, but
It does, but basically, I guess after 10 years, it was kind of she had served her purpose, and she was retired to the mothball fleet. But
what is that?
well, that's where old ships go to rust away.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep, the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard is where she was,
I want to visit there.
and then it was in 1994 that she was returned to Quincy, Mass, which is exactly where she was built in 1945.
Oh wow.
And so now she is part of the United States Navy Shipbuilding Museum, not more than 100 feet from where she was built back in 1945.
In Salem, am I correct?
It's in Quincy, Mass.
Quincy, Mass. Okay.
Quincy, Mass.
Yeah,
But
Salem. Salem was the name.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It was named after the Salem, Massachusetts, the Witch City.
Okay.
Which is where the name came from, being named USS Salem for the Witch City. Her nickname became the Sea Witch, and so that's where the title of the documentary came from, The Soul of the Sea Witch.
I like it. You have a question, Chris, or no?
Yep, no.
No,
Yeah, no. So that's one of the things because I figured, just through normal thing, when I saw like the Sea Witch and stuff, I figured that had that connotation. And I just going through like hearing some of the evidence that you guys were gathering during the filming and stuff. This was really, really. I thought it was actually really well done, really well presented. The stuff you found. I mean, it's a couple of those EVPs that you guys got as well were crystal clear.
Yeah, the EVPs, the credit for that has to go to Greater Boston Paranormal Associates. I didn't get them. They got the EVPs, and they were nice enough to let me use them. And
Yeah,
I have to send out a big thank you to Don DeCristofaro and the Greater Boston Paranormal, because without them, this film just never would have happened.
And they did a fantastic job. I really love the story they told of where they saw an apparition, and then both of them took off on opposite sides of the ship, chasing it down to the bow, and they get there and they meet. And at that point, they know that this can't be a physical person, because you would hear the bang, somebody trying to run up metal stairs.
The ladder. It was a ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the stairway. They are very loud. So there is no possible way that somebody could have run by and then disappeared and gone up the stairs. They definitely would have heard them. So it wasn't a live person by any means.
Definitely. They said there's a lot of good personalities on that ship, for good sailors, because there was a lot of good breaths and a lot of good times had on that ship before
Yep.
the earthquake. So, do you think all of the hauntings on that ship are mostly from the earthquake, or do you think there's some good sailors on that ship? I know they said it was a bad sailor that really liked nobody that was on that ship. And did you actually contact him yourself?
I think you're referring to the cook. That
Yeah, the court.
yeah, no, I didn't. That was done. The him and the cook, I guess, don't really get along too well. But
Yeah.
hey,
What's
what are you gonna do?
That's awesome.
You can't please everybody, right? But
Well, I guess,
as far as
No, go
excuse
ahead.
me?
No, I was just gonna make a comment about that, but yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say, as far as where the spirits are from, another thing that happened was the Salem was docked alongside another ship down at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and there was I forget the name of the other ship right at the moment, but there was a fire and an explosion on the other ship. It was another Navy ship, and so several people were killed in that explosion and brought aboard the Salem, where they died. And there was also another incident. The Salem was on her way to France, and I forget what year it was, but she was doing maneuvers with another Navy ship called the John J. Pierce, and they were doing artillery practice. And one of the big guns on the Pierce jammed and exploded.
Oh shit!
And so there was one sailor was killed immediately, and several others were brought onto the Salem, where they later died. So that was another instance.
Well, that was the bad luck ship. Boy, that ship didn't see no combat, but it seen every other thing that possibly go wrong.
Yeah, like I say, a lot of death for a ship that never saw combat.
That's crazy.
And this, like we said, we had permission to play some of this stuff. So just from Willy. So so this is Don Christopher, from Greater Boston Paranormal. They like I said it was one of those for anybody. Soul Sea Witch. There was a link that we put up in the comments from Mark Eddy too. We'll keep that up there for people to go. I recommend everybody go. I was surprised it only had I figured it would have a few more views to it, but we need to get this out there so people watch it, because it's really cool, some of the evidence that they have collected over the times that they've done this, and it's one of those. I didn't really cover it in the documentary so much, but did you have they had any luck getting like other? Because you always see like the SLS cameras, you see the light, the light grids doing so to capture some of that evidence. Have they done any of that on the ship?
Oh yeah, I imagine just about every gadget there has been used on the ship at one time or another, because they do public investigations. Anybody who is interested in investigating on the ship, if they contact Greater Boston Paranormal, they do public investigations. They're closed right now for the winter because there's no heat on the ship, so it's frigid.
Oh God!
They will be back. They will be back in the spring.
There seems to be the sweet spot of when it's comfortable, somewhere in the spring and the fall, because like you said, there's no air conditioning and there's no heat. So in the wintertime, you're going to freeze, and in the summertime, you're basically going to come out cooked.
Yeah.
They say it's like a baking tin can. It just sits there.
It is. In the summer, we spent about 2 months down there filming this project, and a couple of the days it was just so hot. It was like 95 degrees. It was Florida weather, like you guys have.
Wow.
And I mean, it was terrible. But fortunately, the worst day we weren't actually filming. We were just doing like B-roll and stuff. Otherwise, everybody on camera would have been just dripping with sweat. But it was a great project.
So what was your favorite? What was your favorite part of this project?
No, you can't hear me.
You're muted.
That's why.
My favorite part of the project was I don't know, just working with everybody. Everybody that was involved. It was I won't bore you with the list, but I have a lot of people that I really need to thank for this, and it was fun, especially Greater Boston Paranormal and Sam Beltrusis, author of Wicked Salem. He was great. He had a big part in it, and the most fun part about it was I essentially had a 717-foot Navy ship with unrestricted access to play on.
That's amazing.
And it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I was muted there, so couldn't hear my question. But yeah, it was one of the Don just got careful what you say about him. Yeah, Don, pleasure. Well, thanks for watching. We really enjoy your work there on the documentary. Since Don's here too, he might be able to answer this as well. What do you think was probably either the most intense, paranormal experience that you've had on that ship in the time that you were there? The one that you were just, a person that's not a non-believer or somebody that would go in and they would come out like, I have no explanation.
Yeah, I know Don had a number of occasions. Obviously, we can't hear him, but is he typing an answer to you?
Oh, I don't know. I was even just you. In the couple months you were on there, what was probably would you say the most intense experience you had yourself?
That I had. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have any really intense experiences, but the whole crew did experience different things, like shadow figures, and we all heard phantom footsteps a number of times when we know there was nobody else around. We were actually Don and some people were investigating on the ship one night when I was filming, and they were down in the what's called the CPO mess, and so I stopped by there for a few minutes and just kind of hung out with them, and we all heard phantom footsteps running up on the deck. And this was at night. It was dark, and if you've never been on the ship, I mean, to run in the dark on the deck on that ship, you'd kill yourself. I mean, there's just too many things to trip over and run into. And so this is something that's been heard a number of times. And anyways, at this particular time, we all heard it. And so then I left. Is that the phantom dog on the ship?
That's right, yeah.
So at that point, I left, and I was going to go up above to see if there was anybody up there, which we knew there wasn't. And I got about 30 or 40 feet down the corridor, and I ran into another group of investigators coming the other way. And they said, "Did you hear the footsteps?" And I said, "Yeah, somebody running up on the deck." And they said, "Well, no, we didn't hear it up on the deck. We heard it. It just came from where you just came from. You were running right towards us." So
wow.
that was kind of weird. We all heard the same thing, but they perceived it as coming from a different place than the rest of us did.
That's always been one of the weird things too about some of these experiences, because you'll see people that are in these scenarios where one will be on one side of the hallway, and you'll have the same in close proximity, and you'll have in a way whole different take on what you heard.
Yeah.
Where I heard the footsteps, but you clearly heard more of like a banging sound. And it's one of those, I've always just been curious, why it's more intense in one location and the other side. Is it just because that's the location that the entity spirit is in at the time, and I'm further away?
I think it's just the way that different people are able to perceive it. Some people, like myself, I when I go to investigate, I have to rely on the gadgets. Recorders and stuff like that. But I mean, other people are just more in tuned, and where somebody will see something, somebody sitting right beside them will not see anything, or they'll hear something, and whoever's beside them will just hear something entirely different. It's just the way people perceive it, and and how they are in tune to the paranormal.
Yeah, how many So is there pretty much a documented like negative entity on this, or has it been more just kind of like, the cook really doesn't like me in his kitchen? And so he's just basically trying to get me out type action.
Well, Don kind of thinks that the reason the cook is sort of on the grumpy side is because to him it's his ship. I mean, he's back there. He's on the ship back in the 1940s, 1950s, and he's working. He's cooking, and everybody else aboard the ship now, they're not doing anything. They're just kind of hanging around. So it's kind of like he thinks that this the cook is just kind of mad because, well, why is everybody just hanging around when I'm so busy?
Yeah, no, it's one of those. That was the first thing when I was told you earlier, just keep going. That was the thing that popped in my head is like, I wonder if he's just upset because you're in his way. He's trying to get the biscuits out.
Yeah,
and
yep. They think that's pretty much what the case is. He's just grumpy because nobody else is helping him. He's got to do it all himself.
Now, have they got much in the way of names from some of these, spirits that are on the ship? Because I know they talked about the little girl that they think they've been, they're pretty sure they've encountered, and whether or not, actually before you answer that one too, it's also been the biggest question I have. Especially if this was a rescue mission from there. I've always wondered, like in the research, when you're in foreign countries or doing something, we always ask the questions in English. And I've always had that. It's like, how does somebody like a Greek, somebody that speaks Greek, it's suddenly when you cross over, is it like a universal, the language being spoke? Because I mean, if you grew up your whole life knowing nothing but a language, and then somebody with a completely different language that's asking you a question, I've often wondered if that is part of the issue of why sometimes we don't get a response, is that they don't understand the question.
Well, that is exactly right. I mean, I've often wondered the same thing myself. A lot of, like, you watch a lot of the TV shows, and they'll be in a foreign country or whatever, and they'll get EVPs that are in English. Well, why? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that's kind of my question. Oh, that's awesome.
It's my phone.
That's I was like,
sorry, I can't answer right now.
It's a Viking horn. Viking is being called.
I need a ringtone. I really do.
Yeah, that's Viking's new ringtone. He needs to get that. No, so
right.
Okay. So
where were we?
That was the thing. Have they experienced that? Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the earthquake in Greece? Is that where the mission was?
Yeah, it was the Ionian Islands in Greece.
So have they come across EVPs that come through with Greek? Because to me, it would seem like that would be something that would come through. That you'd hear a foreign language.
Yeah, I know it would make sense.
There's the answer.
Okay, yeah. Don says the children seem to react more to Greek than the adults do. But I don't know if they actually have any EVPs that are in Greek. Could you let us know, Don?
Yeah, that's because that's one of the things I've always been curious about. Just like you said, you watch shows, you do stuff. You're in some German castle doing an investigation, and you're like, if you're here, give me something. I'm here. You're like, he's not speaking English. There should be German. Right. They should be coming back to me in German.
Exactly. Yeah. So in cases like that, I don't know, one word comes to mind, maybe fake, I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Planted evidence. Ooh,
yeah,
scandalous.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not that any of these ghost shows are fake. I wouldn't say that.
No. Yeah. No, they get us in trouble. Yeah, we don't. No, we don't want to say that. No, I've just. Yeah, oh, cool. He says you'll see some on TV in the next few weeks.
Ooh.
Yeah. See. Ooh, teaser.
Yeah, I happen to know that there's a show coming up sometime in January, I believe. And I know what it is, but I don't think. I don't know. I don't think.
If you could share it, we could plug it for him. So that way. But we don't want to get anybody in trouble. That's the main thing.
I don't want to give it away. If
Yeah,
all I
exactly.
can say is it's going to be on the Travel Channel. I can tell you that. But.
Well, there you go. So everybody, stay tuned to, over the Travel Channel, because we got potential, pretty cool, EVP in investigative, experience coming on up there. But that's one of the things I really want myself. I have never been on an actual ghost hunt, and I really want to go. And I've even got a spirit box. I mean, I've got the stuff for it. I've got the recorders. I've got, I have, equipment, that I've been building. I've been building the power generators. I've got a couple of those handmade ones with the, to make the electromagnetic energy, so just with so I've got those. And Don just said Kindred Spirits this season. So there you go.
Yep, there you go. It's out of the bag now.
Yep. So Kindred Spirits. So yeah, check out the season. We're going to talk. And so, yeah, I'll pay attention to that. And when we get an idea of like what episode it's going to be on, we'll send that out to people, so that way we can share and get some people going for that. So yeah, with that equipment, I really wanted to see those things, and Dawn might be able to answer this question as well as, you might too. When you watch some of these shows, I mean, I know you have to edit it for time, you have to do these things, but when you're watching investigations, do you get interference from all the equipment? Because I've always wanted to know why more don't just lay everything out there, like have light grids everywhere, SLS cameras, spirit boxes going. Just have it all there to try to capture any and everything you might capture at that one moment. But you'll see them, everything else is gone.
Well,
so I've got a lot of these.
On a lot of these shows, they do have all that equipment set up, but I think basically most of the time they don't capture anything on most of it. So they only show the few little things that they actually do capture. And they're putting a 12-hour maybe investigation, or in some cases several days worth of investigation into 45 minutes. So
yeah, okay. Yeah,
and of course the investigations that you see on TV is not the real world. I've always described paranormal investigations as a night, probably 10 hours of pure boredom, hopefully followed by 5 seconds of adrenaline.
Yeah, that's always been the one. You watch TV and you're expecting it to just be a night packed with
right.
constant, and then it's like you talk to yourself and you realize, yeah, we got this response, but that was 6 hours of sitting here listening to waiting for that sound. And it's just you realize it's not constant.
Yeah, sitting in some dark, dingy basement somewhere, freezing, and breathing mold, and then all of a sudden, you do get something. That's what makes it worth it. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Now, did Don make you go in some dark, room by yourself, with the recorder and see what you pick up, or or was he nice to you, give you the nice lighted areas?
You don't have to make me. I always go to those dark places anyways.
There you go.
Yeah, that's my favorite place. Anywhere I investigate, and I've sat in basements of prisons where I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, and it's just by myself, been touched, and it's just call me weird. I like it.
Well, that's the thing. You obviously it's for show. You got some shows that do it, and they because they want the reaction. But I've always been just puzzled by the ones that want to go on these investigations and then freak out when they get results. That's why you're there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. People go on investigations and then something happens, they get scared and they run out of the building. Well, why did you go in the first place? I mean, that's why you're there.
Yeah, I've got the camera. I've got the information. I want to see the chair move. I mean, please.
Yeah.
Move the chair, sit down, have a chat with me. I mean, I want to know.
Exactly,
I want to know this. Yeah, not like all of a sudden the chair moves and next thing, the three of us are running off the ship. Like, nope.
No. If something happens, you want to run towards it, not away from it. See what's going on.
Yeah, that would be me and. That would be
there's
me
a question there.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Austin would be the one that would take off running.
My dog just scared me.
Yeah. So we had a question from Sarah there. Have you ever had nights where you had lots of activity that was more than you were anticipating, and it was just like gangbusters, just like one thing after another?
Oh, once, one night last year, myself and my team, along with a couple other teams, we went to a place called Hinsdale House out in New York State, upstate New York, and it was Friday the 13th last year with a full moon.
There you go.
And a thunderstorm. It was like the perfect storm for activity, and just everything that could possibly have happened that night happened. All the meters were going off. People were getting touched. Later in the night, after we went to bed, I got attacked by some sort of an unseen force. It was a very interesting night.
Don just said we're on a run. Guests have fled the ship on our last 4 public investigations. Oh, yeah.
Hey,
tell me you've got that on film, Don. Tell me you've got that on film, because that's got to be some great footage of, like, here's Tim over here. 1 minute you're asking, something happens, and you look, and there's just Tim just running down the hall, just booking to get off the ship.
Yeah.
3 beers tonight, man. We can do a 3 beers investigation. We won't run.
We hope not. And then, yeah, those prisons, obviously we're talking about the ship, but just, it's one of those. Have you found when you get to the asylums and, prisons, I imagine that there is highly negative, interactions between, there's a lot more negative, angry, spirits, as opposed to the sea witch, where it's more of, the entities are confused, sad, trying to figure out why this has happened, where the other ones are just mad, stuff happened to them.
Yeah, well, obviously some places are a lot darker than others. Like, yeah, you go to prison, and the prison that I was talking about would be Moundsville prison in West Virginia State Prison in Moundsville. And I mean, there was the worst of the worst were held in that prison, murderers and rapists, and so it is very dark. I never felt threatened or anything like that. Like I say, I like dark, creepy places, so I wandered all over the prison by myself in the dark. It doesn't bother me. And but it's obvious there is something there. One of the places that I found was probably the most haunted was the infirmary. It just, nothing in particular happened, but you just knew that you weren't alone. There was like multiple spirits just hanging around, just watching, what's going on. But of course, they've seen it 1,000 times before, but.
Yeah. So is there a plan for, obviously the more success you have in the documentary, you said, we'll put up the link again. I think here, I can do that myself here once I find it, but is there plans to I got the link up here for everybody so you can see it. Is there plans to do a sequel to this, kind of an update as it goes, when you get more evidence that you can add onto it, kind of like just an amendment to it?
I don't know. What do you think, Don? You still there? Why don't you chime in on that question? But as far as the link to view the documentary, if you just go to YouTube and just type in "Soul of the Sea Witch," it will come right up.
And that's, yeah, we've all watched it. And it was really well done. I mean, that's, I said, it's been fantastic, and this has been a show that we really wanted to do a few times, to start talking some more of the paranormal things, and this is like perfect opportunity to get into some of these, because this has always just been fascination for me. Just I want to do it, and I've never been able to take the time. And if we ever get up that way, I mean, I'd love to try to get on one of these things and go on the ship.
Oh, absolutely.
That's got to be
come on up here.
Yeah. And I'm just, like the negative energy. I mean, I just, you always want those things, but just speaking of, like, what's probably the most common physical interactions that people have? Because obviously from watching the documentary, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people getting scratched or, negative attacks. Is it mostly just chairs moving, different things getting put out, put in a different place?
Oh, I think probably the most common thing would be people getting touched or just cold spots where the temperature in a certain place will just go down like 10 degrees or so, which
Those are cool.
is which is a sign that there is a spirit present with you. Um, Things do get moved. Um, hey,
There
looks
you
like
go. See?
there might be a sequel.
There you go.
All
That's
right.
what we wanted. Yeah, as kind of like you said, those things. Because I've always, that for me is one of the, like, from the shows, that to me has always been a pretty compelling thing, because when you're holding a temperature gauge, showing something the temperature, right here is 80 degrees, right here is 80 degrees. I look right, I put it over here by Willy, and it's showing 65.
Yeah, exactly.
There's clearly
Exactly.
something that's encountered, because people always try to debunk some of the stuff, like ones that are like EMF detectors and stuff. But there's something when I've got it next to this object and it's reading this thing constantly, but then all of a sudden it does a spike. Obviously,
Yeah, well,
there's no way that, there's a surge, especially if there's no power.
yeah. A lot of the gadgets they use in investigations, as far as I'm concerned, that's what they are, is gadgets.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my main thing is recorders and EVPs, because I really don't see any way you can argue with that. If most of the EVPs you hear on a lot of the TV shows, you can't make out what they're saying until they tell you, and then they say, "Oh, yeah, that's what it says." But to me, if it isn't clear that you don't have to be told what it is, then just throw it away. And when you get those rare, it is very rare to get a clear EVP that you can actually make out. Like the one that is in the documentary on the ship is one of the best EVPs I've ever heard, of the little girl when they were trying to get into the operating room, and the door was locked, and they were trying to figure out how to get in. And one of the investigators said, "How are we going to get in there?" And later they found an EVP right after they said that, of a little girl speaking in a kind of a fast voice. She says, "How would we get there?" And
I saw that.
it is the clearest EVP I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
trying.
when you come up with something like that, you can't argue with it.
Yeah, I was trying to. As you were saying that, I was looking, trying to do a quick scan, trying to find the spot, in the documentary where it says that too, because you
Like
guys put the words,
20 minutes, I think, in
and
2022.
Yeah, because you clearly,
It was clear as
see that
day.
part.
Like I had to go
Yeah.
back and listen to it again. Like, wait, what? What did I just
Hmm.
hear?
Yeah,
Yep,
that kind of thing you can't argue with. It's in the section with Pat Connors up on the deck. It's probably about 20 minutes or so.
But there is
Yeah, I
people who
think-
try to argue and they look stupid. They're like, well, no, maybe they said that. No.
No.
Well, obviously you have to be careful to, audio contamination, make sure that it isn't somebody in the group that's speaking or somebody that you don't know is there. But when you can absolutely rule that out, then you got something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said this is the one where it's. I don't see the words on here yet, but this is the part where he said he's on
He's
the
up
deck.
up on the deck, yeah.
Yeah, this was Pat Connors. Yep, and man, it was just a lot of the evidence, and that's one of the things, like, I really like that. I mean, have they had, in your time that was on there, have you guys had like real time interactions to where you've asked a question and you've got a real time response, real time? Because you always see, like, hey, here, could you move this ball? Could you move this thing here? And they moved it, they did, they in real time responded to that question?
I haven't personally, but a lot of people have on the ship. A lot of things have they get answers, direct answers, and things will move. But I haven't personally witnessed it myself.
Wow, yeah, I really need to get on this ship. It sounds cool.
Well,
It sounds really
yeah.
cool.
It's one of the most haunted places in New England, and possibly one of the most haunted places in the country.
Yeah, it's just you have those lists of ship, the Queen Mary, you have these
Yeah.
ones where you get the different thing, and it's just, and so surprisingly, especially with the ships thing, how little, when you look at it, how little of it is actually crew that's from the actual ship that are doing the hunt. It seems to be mostly a lot of the refugees and people that were brought in for medical aid.
Yeah, but there are some spirits of the crew also. Like one scene that actually is in the video, they which happens a lot of times down in the CPO mess again. There is a sailor that walks by the doorway down the corridor, and he may do it several times in a row, several times within a few minutes, and he's always walks forward to aft, never goes the other way. And you can yell at him and whatever, and he won't. It's a residual haunt. He won't react to you. He just walks by, and a number of people have seen sailors walking the corridors in different places, but that one is one that seems to happen quite often.
And I'm glad you said that, because that was actually a question I was trying to remember to ask you,
Yeah.
too, is the residual evidence. Have you guys, obviously, you won't have a lot of gunfire short of practice, like naval practices, but have you guys, through the investigation, you and the boss, Greater Boss, have you guys picked up talking, just like maneuvers, like up on deck, hear, the captain, shouting orders. I mean, something along those, because you always see the one like the soldier on the battlefield. You hear gunfire. You hear, has it picked up anything like residual like that from the ship?
Not that I am aware of. Again, that would be a very good question for Don. He'd be a great guest for you. Just a little hint.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like, Don, if you want to come on, I would really, we'd love to. Like I said, we could find a time and get you on here and talk about this as well. Maybe get you, same, have a joint thing with you both on there as well.
Yeah,
and he says,
that would be fun. We've done that before.
And with cat balls, rim pods, K2s, they've had a lot of interactions, which is fantastic. That's what makes it a lot of fun, is when you have those ones where if you touch this, it lights up, because then you can see in real time. Because obviously, like if the four of us are sitting there and we're like, just touch this, and all of a sudden you see the lights come on. Obviously none of us touched it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. And like he says, it is pretty rare night when nothing happens aboard the Salem. It's usually pretty active.
That's cool.
Must be, especially since 4 in a row now with people fleeing the ship. That's what I said. I'm just focused on that. I just want to, I almost want to get on there just so I can be all right. Get the thing of popcorn. You're just like, all right, here we go. Who's going to be the first one to book? Start taking bets. It's like, I think it's that one.
Yeah. Who's going to run first?
Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, for me, just with these investigations, I like seeing these type of things, because not only does it, the more information we find I've talked to a few people. I'm a big proponent of, I prefer the people that are overly cautious and overly, critical of evidence and everything they brought in, because I think it makes what actually comes out more authentic and gives you more credibility when you actually present your evidence, because you were willing, like you said, I couldn't understand what that said. I toss that to the side. It's sitting it's sitting in a thumb drive that maybe someday we'll figure out what it said. But for me right now, it's gibberish.
Yeah, if you have to work that hard to figure out what it is, if you have to put it into some sort of an audio program and clean it up and this and that, then don't bother. Just throw it away.
Yeah. You just listen to it and you hear, and you're like, it just said kill the captain. No, it didn't.
oh yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah, it didn't say that at all. I'm like, did you hear it say captain? No, I heard it something that sounded like cat, but I didn't hear captain.
God.
Yeah,
I heard some kind of noise. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, that's one of the things I really liked, just the way the documentary. I mean, I know there was stuff that you guys had to cut out, for time and everything, but that's the way I liked it presented. Is it seemed like the way you go through the investigation, it's really in a way methodical, like what you're going to do, what your goal is set out for, and you're definitely trying to achieve something, as opposed to just hey, let's see if we can come up with something cool to make the tourists give a great review and come back another time, and make their actually it's one of those, hey, I'm just going to let you know this could be a very boring night.
Yep, it could be. That's right. Yep.
And not promising anything, and that's so that but just I keep saying it, but well done on the on the presentation of the the show.
That's all right. I can keep hearing that.
Yeah, keep keeping the praise on you. Yeah,
Greg, when he gave it to me, he says, "Yeah, I know you're a Texas fan. You probably won't watch the whole thing." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll watch it." And I actually called him back and told him some stuff towards the end. He was like, "Oh." It really kept it's hard to keep my attention, and it really got my attention the whole show.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So, yeah, that is a high compliment, by the way.
Yep, that makes it all worthwhile.
Yes.
Like I said, it was a fun project. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was also a lot of work too. So to have people appreciate it really means a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so do you have any other projects in the works that to tease for people? Like, I mean, are you planning on doing another one of these style documentaries of another location?
Well, I have a little short thing coming out pretty soon. Like I said, we did that investigation at the Hinsdale house last year, and so we went back again this past August and did some filming. And I'm going to put that together as it'll probably only be like a 20-minute video with some of our experiences out there. And also, myself and Lynn Nickerson, we did for 6 years. We had a radio show called Spirit Radio, The Paranormal Experience. We're on hiatus right now. But we also did a local TV show called Edge of Reality TV. And we are in the process now of filming another episode of that at America's Stonehenge in Salem, New Hampshire, which will be coming out sometime this winter. Yeah, Dennis, exactly. Yeah. So we've been.
Yep, we had him on. It's. I would love to see. I was actually thinking it's like with Dennis. If you get out there too. Yeah, it is with the altar stone. I would really love to see. Almost like. Investigation, done that, recorded. So, to watch me, because I'm just really curious, because that was one of the things when we did the show with him, I really focused on. I was like really, just fixated on that part, like the altar stone. It's just the way it was grooved out and everything. That was really cool. Yeah. So I'd be really interested in seeing when you get that done.
Yeah, well, when you come up here to go to the ship,
and then is there a site?
Stonehenge too. What was it?
We're gonna have to take time off because I said I can't tell if I'm kind of cutting out or not. Yeah, how about now? Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, he said
you're
we're
muted.
Take some
Austin.
Time off and go.
Yeah, you're better.
To come.
Yeah,
Is the
we definitely need to
take
some time off and figure that out. Let's see here. Keep going.
I excuse me, are the tours closed because of COVID, or are they open right now?
On the ship.
The ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the ship is closed. Is closed for the winter.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
saying
Yeah.
once
There-
it
there
open
will-
back up, is going to be closed for COVID, or they never really closed. They're still doing tours.
The paranormal tours, you mean, or?
The paranormal
Yeah.
tours on the ship.
Oh yeah, yeah. They've been doing it. They were doing it all this past summer, and they will be again in the spring. And the ship also is open to the public during the day. It, like I said, it's part of the Naval Shipbuilding Museum, so it is open during the day for people to just go on and explore the ship. And it's a really neat place, a nice piece of history. Although parts of the ship are rebuilt as museum with displays and with displays and such. A lot of the ship is left just as it was back in the day. It's like stepping back in time. It's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate
there
that
it is.
offer. I couldn't catch the name. I appreciate that officer. That offer. Somebody posted an offer. Don't threaten us with a good time. We'd love to come up.
Oh, that was Dennis. Come
Yeah,
on up,
that
visit
was-
anytime.
Hey Dennis, thank you for watching tonight. How you doing?
And
Yeah,
a
so
road
right
trip
there,
to
there's a
New
site.
England.
Yeah, uss-salem.org for
Yep.
that. And then, is there a site for people to reach you that's the best way, or just mainly through Facebook?
Just Facebook right now. Willy
Okay.
Hassel at Facebook. I'm the only Willy Hassel on Facebook. Last I knew.
All right, there. And then just to show, here's give them a shout out here. Greater Boston Paranormal Associates, the gbpa.com is theirs, and then you can also find them on Facebook, the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates at the GBPA, and so you can them, and then I could look up here and get Willy Hassel and check them out too. But I want to definitely give you guys, give everybody a plug for that. And Soul of the Sea Witch is a documentary, and let's see if we can't get a few more views going on this thing, because we got to get attention brought not only to them for the efforts that they went to help you with your documentary, but also to help you out, give not only just that, but for encouragement to, for you guys to keep making, amazing products such as that.
Well, I'll still do them just for fun, anyways, even if nobody watches them.
That's awesome.
And I figure if this documentary helps out the ship
good.
at all, I mean, I want to bring attention to the ship, and have people go and visit the ship and donate to the ship. And so if this helps the ship at all, then that's good for me.
Yeah, they're great.
And that's, once again, just for everybody, just go to, you can, you got the USS Salem. So it sounds like we're having a little technical difficulties. So apologize here. There's a little bit of a delay on somebody's end. It might even be my end. We'll see.
I'm sure tonight, Craig.
Thank you, sir. Hey, he's gone. Let's wrap it up. Well, Willy, thank you so much for coming on. It was great. And we're gonna try to get a hold of when we get Don on. We'll bring you back on and have another episode about everything you got going on and stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. And I thank you guys very much for having me on tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
there we
great
go.
documentary. It really is.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
I hear you.
Yeah, I took it off Wi-Fi and just went on mobile, see what was going on, see if
it's
that
better.
maybe switch things over. Yeah, so I apologize for that, but no, everybody go to that uss-salem.org sponsor, help them out. You can purchase tickets. There's ship store. I think it sounds like they're going to have merchandise there that people can get to as well. But everybody, like I said, go on Facebook, look up Willy Hassel, send him a friend request, tell him you saw him on the show. Same way with Greater Boston Paranormal Associates. Go follow them, show them some support as well. So everybody want to appreciate, thanks for watching, and Willy Hassel, I will definitely try to get you back on, and for a follow up and see what you're going on. So let us know as your new projects, come to fruition.
Okay. All right. Very good. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
Hey, thanks again, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody
All right,
have a good night.
You too. This episode, at the end of the technical difficulties, was not brought to you by Broad's Beard Care. That was brought to you by my phone. But Kelly does bring you amazing beard products that do not have technical difficulties. They do not freeze up when it's on your beard. So check him out. Use promo code 3beards with a capital B, and you're going to save 20% off. That check our signature blend 3B, and great reviews. Everybody that's tried it loves the smell of it. No bad things on that. He's got a new scent out, The Gentleman, that seems to be a pretty popular one. Barrel-aged whiskey and tobacco. So that's definitely, if you want to smell like a speakeasy, that's a good one. That's a good one to try.
You might not want to wear it on New Year's. You can get it for tomorrow. Just a word of advice.
And Dawn, you're most welcome. Thank you for your hard work on that. You and the folks there at Greater Boston Paranormal Associates. That was fantastic work. So, like I said, everybody check them out. Nanny Cakes, Nancy Burke. Go to Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook. Mention us. She's going to say cut your bill by 15% as a way of saying I'm sorry you had to put up with that.
The beardos.
And sorry you had to put up with all that stuff. Go to patreon.com/3beards podcast. Become one with the beardos. Support us. Maybe we can upgrade our equipment so that way it's a little smoother.
God.
Yeah, man. What a way to finish it off here. Everybody, check social medias. Please share, like, follow, wherever you can. It helps us out. It kind of gives us an idea of, what people are liking, what people aren't. So thanks again, Mark, for, getting us in touch with them. Sarah, yeah, you'll enjoy the documentary. It's a lot of fun. And Dennis, thanks for watching. Happy New Year's to everybody from us at Three Beards Podcast. Let's just pray that January 1 kicks off and it's better. I mean, I don't want to say it can't get any worse because we all know we don't need to throw a challenge out there. So let's just pray it gets better. So,
make sure you eat your black eyed peas, and we'll see you in January. Thank you for watching
that a Southern
tonight.
remedy?
Yeah.
Black eyed peas before the
good luck.
I'm from the northern states. I'm not sure about the black eyed peas for New Year's.
That's the problem. You didn't do it. Look what happened.
Maybe that's what it is.
Get your black eyed peas after work.
We'll see you in January.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody have a great evening. Join us next week. We're going to have Tanya and Joey Medea talking about the Mothman and the Mothman prophecies. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we're also, the first show, we're going to have a couple of authors on to talk about the Iroquois Confederacy and the different things that seem to be going around with that Indian tribes and nations that came together to form that. So we'll have two really good shows next week as well. So check those out. Everybody, Happy New Year's. See you later. Good night.